Hello, good morning. Happy birthday to all of the June 26 babies out there. We're going to connect and see what message is coming up for the next 24 hours. I should also say good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. We're all in different time zones. You might see this video when it's not June 26th where you are. You may see it a few weeks from now, a few months from now. So we're just going to set the intention for the next 24 hours from whenever you happen to stumble upon this message. So we're going to see what's coming up here for all of you out there. For the collective who see this video, what message for the next 24 hours? One more shuffle. Let's get right on into it, my dears and my darlings. We have the Ten of Wands. Now, the Ten of Wands can tell us that we've come into the time of completion of a project, something we were working on, some goal we were trying to obtain or achieve. We've reached it, we've accomplished it, and now we can move on to the next thing. Ten of Wands can be an energy or a message of completion. Ten of Wands is also experience, wisdom. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. We can take this into the next adventure. I have even heard some readers say, well, specifically, I've heard Pamela Georgel say this. Pamela Georgel is the Lucky Mermaid channel, and she inspired me. She was my inspiration to get onto YouTube. And I've heard her say that Ten of Wands for her in her readings is like moving, physically moving, geographically moving. It could be for some of you that there could be a move here. You might be feeling done with a certain place, like whatever you were going to do there, whatever you were going to experience there, it's done. It's time for the next thing. But Ten of Wands also comes in with the energy that we might be very overwhelmed or very burdened with a situation. And we may be trying to force ourselves to tough it out. And the message with the Ten of Wands is that you can't. You can't keep doing this forever. Sooner or later, he's got to put those wands down. He can't carry them forever. Sooner or later, he's going to have to put them down, or his arm will just give out and he'll drop them. So some of you might be trying to tough out a situation and hold on to a situation that is weakening you, draining you, tiring you, and it's time to put it down and move on to the next thing. Sometimes the Ten of Wands can tell us that we need to delegate. We're taking way too much on our shoulders. And the best way that I can explain this kind of situation is that if you keep pushing yourself, sooner or later, your body will give out. Your body will just quit and say, I'm not doing this anymore. And some of you have heard me tell you the experience of a very stressful, very toxic job I was holding on to. I kept telling myself I was going to wait a little bit longer before I quit. I was going to wait a little bit longer before I looked for another job. Even though it was such a toxic situation, I kept pushing myself and pushing myself. Some mornings I would wake up and I would just cry. I would cry and cry and cry because I did not want to be there. What did I do? I sucked it up, pulled myself up by the bootstraps, and I went. And what did my body do? Eventually it said, nope, we're not going. We're not going. My body shut down on me. I thought I was having a stroke. Half my face was paralyzed. I couldn't walk. I had to hold on to things to walk. I had no balance. My balance was completely gone. I was in like my early 30s and I was like, holy crap, I'm having a stroke. And I went to the ER and they're like, nope, you're not having a stroke. And after all kinds of tests and stuff, they just basically said, well, you have like really bad Bell's palsy where it's also affecting your balance. Bell's palsy just means your nerves gave up, your face is paralyzed. We don't know why it's happening, and that's why we call it Bell's palsy. It's just like we don't know why it's happening. And just basically your nerves had a nervous breakdown and they just quit. And we're just going to have to wait and see. Your face might go back to normal. You might be able to use your face muscles again. You might be able to get your balance back. You might be able to walk again, but we're just going to have to wait and see. That was terrifying. All because I was pushing myself and forcing myself to be, quote unquote, strong and, not give in or give up in a difficult situation. It's not worth your health. It's not worth your health. There could be something right now that you're sacrificing your health because you don't want to let it go, either because you're trying to prove a point, or you don't want to seem like you're a weak person, or you're telling yourself, oh, you know what? This shouldn't bother me. This shouldn't be a bother for me. This shouldn't be a big deal for me. I should be able to be strong enough to suck it up and deal with this. And so we try to push ourselves, and we try to tell ourselves that, we're going to show everybody. We're not going to give up. We're not going to be a quitter. It's not worth it at the expense of your health. Nothing is. So some of you maybe need to kind of reevaluate this. Are you putting your health at jeopardy? Are you sacrificing your emotional, spiritual, mental, physical well-being to tough out a situation? It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. So there could be something here, some burden that you have to lay down, that you have to put down. And you have to give yourself permission to do that and to move on to the next thing. Take the lessons it taught you, the experiences it gave you, the tools that it gave you, and give yourself permission to move on to the next thing. Okay? Make sure that you're listening to your body. Your body is speaking to you, right? Sometimes we don't know what we feel emotionally, but we can tap into what we're feeling physically. And if your body is saying, I'm exhausted, I need to rest, listen to that. Maybe you need to take naps. Maybe you need to take breaks. Maybe some of you are having a physical reaction to a place or situation, like it's making you physically ill, or you're getting like a nervous twitch. Listen to these things. It's like driving a car. Sometimes our car might start to make a weird noise, and we might say, oh gosh, I really don't want to deal with the headache of, finding out what the issue is and having to pay to get it fixed. So we just tell ourselves, oh, it's probably not a big deal. And we keep pushing and pushing and pushing that car. And then sooner or later, what happens? We have a big old breakdown, and something that could have been a little issue that could have been fixed became a big problem. Don't do that with your body. Don't do that with your health. Okay? Don't do that with your life. So maybe examine yourself today and ask yourself, in what ways might I be spreading myself too thin? And what ways might I be pushing myself too far? Because sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. We're just doing it on autopilot. Okay? But this is a burden that you need to stop carrying. I'm getting a really specific message here for some of you. For some of you, this 10 of Wands has to do with guilt. You're carrying a guilt upon your shoulders that's not yours to carry. Like, you need to let it down. You need to put it down. And you need to forgive yourself, and you need to understand that you've always done the best you knew how to do with the tools that you had at the time and in the circumstance that you're in. You've always done the very best you could possibly think to do. Hindsight is always 2020. It's always later, after we have the experience, where we might say, I could have totally handled that differently. I could have done this, I could have done that. But you did the best you could in that moment. The only reason why you see the solution now is because experience made you wiser. There's no sense in being angry at yourself or feeling guilty or beating yourself up for things that you didn't know. If your mother held on to your schoolwork from when you were a little tiny, kid starting school, and you went through and you looked at the work that you did in school when you were learning how to write. You were learning how to write your name. You were learning how to write, cat or dog. And you wrote cat with a K. And you wrote dog flipping the D so it says bog instead of dog. You see those things and you just kind of laugh or smile, or you think, oh, that's cute, because you understand how those mistakes were made. You understand that they were easy mistakes to make. You don't look at that and get angry at yourself. You don't look at that and say, you stupid idiot. Cat doesn't start with a K. What a loser. I was such a loser. I was such a dumb kid. You don't do that because you understand that you were learning, and you could understand how you might think, oh, K, okay. Oh, yeah, D and B are very similar. And for a little kid, it's really easy to flip them around and to forget which one is D and which one is B. You don't look at that and get angry at yourself or beat yourself up about it or carry shame. You're not going to be so ashamed that you wrote cat with a K, because you understand that you were learning and it's an easy mistake to make. And on our cosmic journey, on our life experiences, they could be big life decisions, but in a grander scale, on a bigger picture, our angels, our guides, God is looking down and says, okay, I understand how this person could have made that mistake. Fair enough, easy enough. And if you could understand and see through Spirit's eyes, you would understand that more quickly also. That, you know what? Fair enough. This was an easy mistake to make. I can see how I made this mistake, or I can see how I thought this was a good decision at the time. Most people are not inherently evil. There are some people who are, although there are people who would debate me on that and say, nope, not true. Some people are, but I will say the majority of people mean well. And the majority of people are doing the best they possibly can and believe that they're doing something good when they're doing something. They think that they're doing what is best. And so some of you need to lay down this shame, lay down this burden, lay down this guilt, and cut yourself some slack. You did the best that you could do with the tools you had at the time. And there's no reason to be ashamed of yourself or angry at yourself or to feel guilty for not knowing better. The only reason why you know better now is because you had that experience. And so the next time in the future, if something similar comes along, you'll do better because you have experience. Don't beat yourself up for what you didn't know before you had a chance to learn it. You may want to check out the weekly forecast. Those are linked in the description of the video. Weekly forecasts for the week ahead are going to be popping up here over the rest of the day for Sunday. I finally got the love readings up. It's just taking longer to release everything because the checks are taking a long time. And I got a little delayed in the recording. I got to get ahead and record earlier so I can release things earlier. But again, my dears, I thank you for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Love readings for July are linked in the description. If you would like to schedule a private reading with me, link in the description will take you to calendly.com/amethystangelite, and you can schedule with me there on my scheduling page. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. Have a wonderful day, my dears. Take care and be well.